warm welcome to all the educated dignitaries and the enthusiastic learners to the 1 week virtual International Faculty Development Program on Teaching, Learning and Research, organized by Internal Quality Assurance Cell and Department of English, Shift 1 and 2 of Sri Shankarlal Sundarbai Session Jain College for Women, Tamil Nadu, India, in collaboration with Cape Comorin Trust, India. I deem it as a great pleasure to welcome the resource persons for the day, Professor Fides del Castillo and Professor Sifu Taiwo, and I take immense pleasure in welcoming Dr. R.S. Regin Silvest, President, Cape Comorin Trust, the Organizing Secretary, Dr. Shubhra Jambal, Assistant Professor, Government College of Education, Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the coordinators, Dr. Shailaja Vasudeva, Associate Professor, Department of Political Science, Shahid Captain Bikram Batra, Government Degree College, Himachal Pradesh, and Dr. J. Shobna Devi, Assistant Professor of English, Standard Fireworks, Rajratnam College for Women, Sivagasi, Tamil Nadu, and the felicitators of the event on this occasion. It's my pleasure to welcome the heads of the department, program coordinators, the faculty members of Session Jain College, other colleges, academicians, and research scholars, and other participants across the nation and overseas who have joined us today in this knowledge sharing and gaining endeavor. It is always a great pleasure to receive and share knowledge in the academic arena. To quote Dalai Lama, share your knowledge to achieve immortality. And one way of reiterating this immortality in the academic ambience is through conducting and attending development programs related to research and
Hello,
teaching. To give an
hello.
overview of day one, the 1 week faculty development program started with a good note of prayer, and the resource persons for the day, Professor Sharif Ismail and Professor Dr. Granthi Priya, discussed serendipity as a tool in research and writing an effective abstract, respectively. The participants acquired and enhanced
Hello,
knowledge on the
ma'am.
term
Let's.
serendipity and learned many effective ways that can be used to write an effective abstract. The sessions were too interesting and fruitful.
Hello,
In continuation, today,
ma'am. Your lecture is not audible. Please.
Sir, ma'am is audible to all of us. I think you have to check your network. Meenakshi ma'am, Shantani ma'am, I think you are able to hear Karpaga ma'am. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Prem sir, I think it's fine from our side. Karpaga ma'am, you may please continue.
yes, thank you, Priya. In continuation, today for day two, we have two eminent scholars amidst us to enlighten our knowledge. Professor Fides del Castillo, Associate Professor, De La Salle University, Manila, Philippines, and Professor Saifu Taiwo, Ladok Akintola, University of Technology, Nigeria. To any academician, doing research and publishing articles in high impact journals has become a need for the day. In addition, as the role of information and technology is growing day by day, it is important to all of us to be aware of technology that lies behind teaching and learning. In this line, today is a session on doing research and publishing in high impact journals and the role of information technology in education gains importance in this 1 week FDP. At this juncture, I feel privileged to introduce the resource person for the first session of the day, Dr. Fides del Castillo. Dr. Fides del Castillo is an associate professor in De La Salle University, Manila, and supervisor in Consortia Academia. She teaches theology, spirituality, religious education, and research courses. Dr. Del Castillo is the president of the NPRE, Network of Professional Researchers and Educators, a private organization that conducts training and formation for early career educators and researchers. This is part of her community service and social engagement endeavor. Her research interests are intercultural theology, Leyland theology, empirical theology, psychology of a religion, health, and spirituality. She has published 103 papers and 4 books. It's our privilege to have you as the speaker of the day, ma'am, and we welcome you. The topic of her presentation is doing research and publishing in high impact journals. Let us all be ready to listen to her. Welcome you, ma'am. Welcome you once again.
Thank you, ma'am, for the note of welcome and for introducing the resource person to us. I now welcome Dr. Del Castillo to take over the session. Dr. Del Castillo?
I think the ma'am has left the meeting, it seems. She's not there.
She's there, ma'am. She's on companion mode. Ma'am, we are not able to hear you. Dear participants, kindly wait. Regin sir is trying to contact the resource person. Ma'am, we couldn't hear you. Ma'am, we couldn't hear you. Hello, ma'am.
Actually, she's on mute.
Ma'am, we couldn't hear you. Admin, could you please enable the chat window for me so that I can text ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. A moment.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
can chat now.
Yes. Thank you.
Welcome, ma'am.
Please allow ma'am also to chat with us. Yeah. Okay. Can I ask the host to give me access to audio? Admin, could you do something from your side?
Yeah, ma'am. We are trying.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, this time can you hear me
Yes,
now?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much. Let me again share my screen. Okay, so we are here already in our second day. Again, thank you so much for allowing me to present in this conference. And what I'll be sharing with you are actually both personal sharing and at the same time how we can actually do start our research and get published. So I'm actually part of a university here in the Philippines. Currently, I'm the associate dean in the School of Innovation and Sustainability. So we actually do a lot of research. We are required to do a lot of research. I think this is the same with India, right? In your university, you are requested by your university or your school to do publish and to do research so that you can use that in your teaching, and at the same time we can use that in our re-ranking, in our promotion, right? So now allow me to just share with you the objectives of this talk. So first, we hope to articulate the different approaches to write a research article. Second is to know tips to getting your paper published in a journal. There are a lot of journal publications in India and around in Asia. So I think we are very blessed to have these journals and be able to have the opportunity to publish them. And then third objective would be know how to identify authentic journal publications. So first, allow me to just share a bit of my own experiences. So first, I am just new in writing research. I used to start writing books. So I started with writing books and textbooks in the Philippines. So these are just some of the textbooks that I started writing in 2011. So since my specialization is humanities and religious education, so that is my area of concentration. So I do write with other co-authors. We have also published several books about the values education, and this was actually published by a publisher, a local publisher in the Philippines, and it was disseminated not only in our region but also in the different regions in Asia. It's very good to be able to share your knowledge and be able to write things specifically because you want to also share your skills, no, your abilities, your talents to the students, and be able to help different faculty members, different teachers, as they continue to teach and navigate the teaching experiences of the students, especially now that we are in the pandemic. So I'm also very new in the international conference in 2013. That's the time that I started with conferences, and I started training the first international conference in Japan. So currently, I make sure that every year I have to go out of the country and be able um, to share and be able to you know um, join different conferences like this, and not only, of course, virtually, but also really physically, so that you will be able to see and meet the giants of your your expertise, of your specialization. So currently, we are actually asked by the university to also monitor our Google Scholar, so that we will be able to see how our research have impacted the academic community, not only in the country, but also outside the country. So currently, we are actually doing that together with my co-authors. And we were able to publish several articles. Recently, the CBC Canada, it's a radio station in Canada, has tried to interview us regarding the Christmas in the Philippines, because we have the longest Christmas in the world. We started our Christmas in September, and that's a celebration for us. So we continue to share this knowledge and be able to continue sharing the things that we know, no, in the academic community. So these are some of the things that I have been working. Now, why do I need to share this? I think I would like to mention to everyone that I have started from zero. Actually, there was one colleague who mentioned, who told me, you know what, Fides, you will not be able to publish. So it was very discouraging. But with, trying to be inspired with other colleagues in the university, other professors who have been inspiring, who are very inspirational, we all can start from zero, from nothing, from the ground. But when we when we start sharing our dreams, we will be able to share our own ideas. And by dreaming, we will be able to let our voices be heard through research. By actually dreaming, we will be able to help others through research. So, for example, in COVID-19 pandemic, all of us are actually, affected. A lot of lockdowns had happened, not only in India, in the Philippines, but all around the world. But through research, through the efforts, the sacrifices of a lot of people, we were able to see on the different strategies on how to navigate our situation. So a lot of teachers tried doing online teaching, trying to share their strategies through research. So we can actually also do that. And I'm just telling everyone that we can all do it. No, and I think one important thing that we have to remember is that we are not alone in research. We have colleagues in our school, in our university. We have colleagues and mentors who will guide us. And if you are already a seasoned teacher, a seasoned researcher, you can also mentor your students and be able to lead them on how to generate new ideas for our community
for our school, for our society. So I was actually reminded of this is an animated video. I think this was year 2005, and it's entitled Robots. The main character is Rodney, and he said in one of his conversation to Big Weld, he said that, see a need, feel a need. I think this is one important thing that we can actually share, and be able to reflect on as we continue our research, because we have to see the need in our society, and we need to have the capacity, the skill to be able to fill that need. And recently there was a community service around. It was actually hosted and organized by Servitate. It's an organization in Brazil, and I was one of the evaluators, and I'm so happy to see that there are a lot of communities, universities in India who actually participated in that specific award. And the major award was actually given to one of the universities in India, because what they did in the community is they plant mushrooms for the community. So they since there are a lot of rising rising cost for the food, one university taught a community, a low-income community, on how to plant mushrooms, and they were able to do a lot of planting, and the community was actually lifted up because they were able to come up with a lot of revenues because of that specific program. So again, we have to see the need and be able to fill the need through research. And if we will be writing a research or an article, so based from this section, writing an article is the most essential method of disseminating your research. So it's just a piece of knowledge, and we can actually disseminate it. It can be through a conference, can be through publication, or even in the text that we are actually sharing with our students. So every researcher's core business is writing and publishing papers, and we have to contribute to a particular field and make some difference in the world. So if you are in education, so definitely your focus should be in education. If you are in the field of humanities or in social science, do your expertise and be able to work on it. Okay. So these are some of the tips to write an article. So this is just the summary. So first is to choose a topic that interests you. This is one important thing, especially in writing an article. If you do not like what you are writing, definitely it will not be finished, right? So once it's very interesting, to you, it will be very easy for you to finish it. Next is gather resources, and then read and keep record. Create a mind map or outline. Develop the paper. Along the way, rethink and revise, proofread and edit. Now, let me share with you in details. So, what to write? The first thing that we have to look at is to select a specific topic and a potential reading audience. So, we have to check the different references. We have to check what's in the journal publications, what's in the market already. And we have to look what is being talked about and be able to add something from that specific content. Or sometimes, if no one is talking about that specific idea, maybe you can generate something new and be able to own it. Okay? And so there are 4 A's in writing an article. The first one is to aim. Aims. When writing your article, it is important to keep your aims or goals in mind and use them to guide your decision. So what is your goal in the next few months? You want to make sure that the community, you evaluate the, let's say, the different communities, evaluate the assessment of the students. So maybe that can be a goal as you write your research. And then you can also look at your audience. So make sure to have a good understanding of your target. So if your specialization is in science, therefore your audience should also be somehow they will be interested in the topic that you will be sharing. Next is awareness. You should be mindful of existing research, political debates, and current political issues. So ground your work in the context of the broader landscape and citing other research when necessary. So again, maybe in the past 2 years, COVID-19 have been the main topic in writing in research because we want to find solutions on how to navigate this. And we have to look at the existing research that we do not duplicate them, but rather we will be able to add something, add a content to what is being talked about. And then the last A is to articulate. We have to prepare a logical framework for our paper and be able to develop our ideas with clarity and conciseness. So we have to focus on the topic and be able to share it and find the key points so that we will be able to, be clear with what we are talking about. So these are the 4 A's in writing an article. Now, what are the main elements of an article? We are all professionals here. So that means I know, and I'm sure that all of us knew about this. So we need to have a specific title. So it should be eye-catching, and it should show the main message of our research. We need to have an abstract, at least 250 to 350 words. We need to have a clear introduction so that we will be able to share what is the background of our study. And then we have to anchor our research in theories or literature review. And then we also have to share the method or the process on how we conducted the research. And then clearly state the results, or sometimes divide it into results and analysis. And then lastly, summarize the main article into a conclusion. So these are the main elements of an article, and it might be easy to read like this, but it's very hard to write an article, right? So I think it would take a lot of reading, a lot of time, so that we will be able to finish one. But one specific key, something that we can think about is that we can actually look for some colleagues who can help us and become co-authors, so that an article can be, a collaboration of different minds from the different fields. So I think this is something that we can work on and continue. Now, as I've mentioned, we have to choose a topic that interests you. And we have to find an approach that suits our interests. So if, for example, let's say community service is your topic, so therefore you can look at different aspects on that. On my part, since my specialization is religious education, I actually focused on religion, health, and spirituality. So these are the topics that I usually conduct and looked into. Okay, and then, so as I've mentioned, these are some of the highly cited paper that I have. So I look at the health of the people and then connect it to spirituality and COVID-19. So I tried to look at the different themes and insights that were taken no, since the time of COVID-19, that's 2020 up to 2022. So I tried to summarize that and be able to see the themes and share what are the important insights that we can actually learn from this. And then, so I have here are some of the results. So there are themes like experiences and challenges brought by the COVID-19 pandemic. There are also some noble approaches or strategies on how to manage COVID-19 pandemic. And there is the spiritual care. Spiritual care is needed, not only the physical care, but also the nourishment of the spirit. So I think that is one thing that we have to look at. Now, when we gather sources, we have to read and keep records. So we have to actually gather in both printed and online. So these are some of the links that you can look at. And these are some of the useful resources that you can look into. Now, when we gather resources, we also have to look at records. So here are some of the sites and links for ebooks and other resources. Excuse me. Now, when we're trying to look at our research, we have to create a mind map or an outline. This will actually help us better clarify and be able to look at the flow of our research. So sometimes there are also different ways of looking at it. It's either you create a mind map, that's okay. You can also create an outline, that's okay also, as long as you will be able to identify the different parts and the subtopics that you have for your research. Now, there are different types of research. So we have the qualitative and the quantitative research. When we talk about qualitative, this is about looking at the numbers, right? So it's understanding the underlying reasons and motivations. That is the objective. So we need to have a sample. So it can be, sorry, that's for, no. A qualitative means we try to look at small samples and be able to see their experiences. It can be unstructured, it's non-statistical, and we can develop an initial understanding. But when we talk about quantitative, we can actually create or develop some instruments. It is structured, and we usually use statistics, and there is a recommendation for the final course of action. So these are some of the methods or strategies that we use for quantitative. We do research, survey research, okay? There are correlation research, experimental, single subject research. While when we talk about qualitative, we use case study, ethnography. We usually observe people. We do a lot of grounded theories and phenomenology. So we have a lot of symbols, and there are use of oracle research. Now, this is one example of a quantitative research where we actually used a specific tool from Professor Stefan Huber from Switzerland. So we use the centrality of religiosity scale to select LGBTQs in the Philippines. Now, we also do qualitative by actually looking at the different reviews of literature and by surveying or by interviewing people, in the Philippines. So this is the structure that is commonly used, especially if we ask our students, or maybe our students in a graduate school when they published an article. We call it IMRAD. So The first one is the introduction, together with the literature review. It talks about the why. So it answers the why. The second one is the methodology or method. It talks about the how of the research. And then results, that means what's new. So what are we talking about? And we talk about discussion. So when we discuss the results, we have to bring in new knowledge and be able to conclude that and summarize it in the conclusion. So these are the popular citation styles. Usually in humanities, we have the APA and Chicago manual. But there are also others, no? Let's say MLA, CSE, IEE. So always make sure to check first with your mentor or maybe to the publication journal about the style to use before submitting it to a journal. And then, of course, along the way, we have to rethink and revise. So we have to skim the body, the paragraphs. We have to review every bit and pieces and every parts of the research and be able to address the different ideas. And then finally, check your transitions. Now, there are a lot of proofreading apps already. So, for example, on my research, since I am not a native speaker, I'm not a native English speaker, I use Grammarly first to check my grammar, and then I'll use WordTune so that the way it can be written can be, it could be properly written accordingly. So we have a lot of applications already online, which are at no cost. So I think we can use that. And we are actually very fortunate to have the internet, because before we need to hire proofreaders. So currently, no, we just need to have these tools and be able to correct them properly. Now, when we talk about publication pyramid, we have to look at the different levels of publication. So as we move up the pyramid based here, this is actually based on the German Research Foundation. The more valuable it becomes, okay? So, but at the same time, more scarce and more difficult to produce. So let's say, for example, grade literature. That includes let's say, newspapers, blogs, internet blogs, some of the articles that we have in the school publications. So these are some of the grade literatures. Now, when we talk about patents and technical reports, sometimes we actually use this in our own universities, and we use modules, these are, or patents. Now, when we go to the next level, the thesis and dissertations are getting valuable because it takes a year or more in order for us to produce these research papers. Now, when we talk about conference papers, sometimes in some universities, they use this already for promotion and ranking. So it's more valuable than thesis and dissertation, because you are now getting exposed to a larger audience, and you were able to share your research in a conference. Now, in the next level, the journal articles, of course. When we publish journal articles in local or maybe international level, it becomes more valuable. The next one is book chapters, because this is a contribution to a specific content. No? Let's say for a book on sociology, no? Specifically, these book chapters pertain to that specific title. The next one is book editorship, when you edit different books or different chapters and you become the editor. So that is one of the second highest, and the highest one is actually by writing a single authored book. So that is the most valuable form of publication according to German Research Foundation. Next. So these are 6 ways to spot a predatory journal. This is actually a general view, okay, a general way to look at it. Now, some would say there is a bills list. No, I think you have heard of that, but sometimes there are a lot of contentions about the list in the bills list, because sometimes even those who are highly impact journals, they are listing them down in that list. So we have to just be very observant on the different things. Like, for example, number 1, always check the website thoroughly. So if the website would actually is, if you think it's malicious or not really working, so you have to question already. Next is check if the journal is a member of a DOAG, J, and COPE, or AOSPA or STM. So these are the different journal websites that you can actually look at. And then check the journal's contact information and check if there is really the specific address to that, or it can be a bogus address. Next is research the editorial board. If the editorial board are really searchable in the web, so maybe yes, that would be okay. And then take a look at their peer review process and publication timelines. Sometimes there are high impact journal that would published very, very fast, let's say a month, because the reviewers were able to really review thoroughly, and they were very fast in doing so. But there are also some journals who have tedious process, like, say, in my example, I have one article that was published after 2 years. So that's how long it is. There are some who will not, there are some journals who will not review the article anymore, and that can be questionable. Okay. Next is read through past issues of the journal. So there are some of the appendix, no, or some of the archives, and you have to check whether they are really doing some research. You can click the different volumes and check if they have the past issues. Okay. So when we talk about peer-reviewed journals, it should be refereed or scholarly. So when we write an article, articles are written by experts and are reviewed by several other experts. So that means we have to be very cautious, especially when we receive a lot of comments and suggestions from the reviewers. That is just part of peer review. That's why people, the experts, are reviewing our paper, so that we will be able to see another angle as we continue the publication. And of course, before the article is published in the journal, so that it can ensure the article's quality. So this is the peer review process. Number 1, the author writes, we write the article and then submit it to the specific journal that we want. In some universities, they would go for ISI and Scopus. So in our university, we have to look for journals that are Scopus index, because that is part of the world, index, the world rankings of the universities. And the second one is the journal editor sends the manuscript to experts, to different reviewers. Now, after that, the experts will review, give comments, and then it should be returned to the author. And the author should revise the manuscript and the submits. And once it passed the reviewer and the editor, it can now be published to a journal issue. Now, when we talk about publication, we have to look at the timeline of the publication. I think for those who have here, who are part of the editorial of a journal, we all know that there is a production time. So there is the creating of content. There is also the distribution or the formalizing and distributing content, and then the consumption. That's why sometimes we will find some journal publications that would request for publication fees because there is cost in reviewing, in the production of the articles. So we have to also understand that. Now, there are also some index journals, as I've mentioned. When we talk about index journal, it means that the journal has gone through and passed a review process of certain requirements done by a journal indexer. So every institution can be an indexer. It can be of course, some credible, credible institution should be applying for that. And you should be part of the academic world. And an indexer should be one who is trusted and reputable in doing such a job. So these are some of the reputable indexer. So Scopus, DOAJ, so we have the EBSCO and Ulrich, etc. Now, these are some of the journals or journal publications that I am connected with. So we have the Consortia Academia, we have the Religions, which is a Scopus. We also have the Asia Pacific Journal of Management and Sustainability. So it's an ASEAN Citation Index. Currently, we have a special issue on the role of religion and spirituality in times of crisis. This can be seen in Scopus and in Religions. I have partnered with Professor Dr. Ron Scap from College of Mount St. Vincent in New York. We are actually currently accepting some articles. If, for example, you are interested, you can just search this title, and we actually accept articles for possible publication. We also do have the Asia Pacific Journal of Management and Sustainable Development. Again, this is an ASEAN Citation Index. And lastly, we are part of the Consortia Academia. We actually help new researchers, graduate students, to publish their own researches so that they will be able, because in the Philippines, before you can graduate in master's or in a PhD degree, you have to publish before graduating. So we actually help students and some new faculty members to actually publish and be able to pursue their academic degree. So this is also part of Crossref. So these are some of the articles that we have published and helped, and we have a website. Okay, I'm also, by the way, part of the Lumina Foundation, so you can actually check that if you are interested to publish. So lastly, this will be my last slide. I got this from Professor Albert, and it says that research is to see what everybody else has seen and to think what nobody else has thought. So when we talk about research, we have to know that everybody, or maybe most of the people has seen that, but we have to let our voices be heard and be able to think what nobody else has thought. So that's all. I hope you have learned something from this short talk, and thank you so much to everyone.
Thank you, ma'am. Participants, if you have any questions, you can ask now.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
I have a request, madam. I have seen you have shown one slide that contains some information and links about the resources
Mhm.
for some books. So,
Okay.
yeah, I'll be very grateful, madam, if you kindly share that slide once again.
Okay. Maybe I will be sending it here in the chat box later. I'll send the link, or I can also email. If those who would need to email, you can actually chat in the chat box or email ad, and I will be sending it to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Hello. Good evening,
Yes,
ma'am.
we can hear you.
This is Aishwarya, and it was very really encouraging to listen to your lecture and your presentation on religion and theology, the papers that you had published. So I just want a clarification, ma'am. So you said we are interested to send a paper. Can it be related to Hindu religion, ma'am?
Yes, definitely. We actually look at different religions worldwide. So it can be Hinduism or Buddhism or whatever religion it is. We do actually will be very happy to have it. Okay.
Yes, because what you have published is absolutely right, ma'am. Psychologically, during the pandemic, it was, I think the religious scriptures were really helpful.
Actually, yeah, that's very right. Um, there are a lot of research that sometimes we need to promote religion in order for us to cope from the different crises that we have. So, for example, a lot of people would go to praying to, to the divine, so that they will be able to have their mental well-being and positive well-being. So I think that would be very good if
Exactly,
you will.
ma'am.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, what will be your suggestion if I want to publish something in Consorita Academy?
My email ad is fidesdelcastillo@gmail.com. I can actually send it to you via chat. Can the host give me access to the chat? You can email to me and I will be sending you the link.
Okay, thank
to
you,
that.
ma'am.
Okay.
Madam, you can use the chat box.
Okay, there you go. Okay, thank you so much. So this is my email ad. You can actually send me a message. So for example, if you want to have the presentation, you want the link, I'll be able to send you, just make sure that you send me a message. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Any more
Good afternoon.
questions?
Good afternoon from Ghana, and morning and evening to the rest of the world. I'm Ibrahim Haruna. I'm medical practitioner from Ghana. Thank you very much for your meticulous presentation, well detailed explanation, and I'm excited to have this wealth of knowledge from you. And your presentation shows how rich and how experienced you are. My question to you is, you made mention that in Philippines, before you graduate as a master student and as a PhD, you're supposed to publish at least one paper, right?
Yes, that's right. That's
Yes.
correct.
Yeah. So this directive, is it across the country or is specifically in your university?
This is across the Philippines. It's nationwide because the higher education, the CHED, or the higher education institution in the Philippines, requires all masteral and doctoral students to publish. So it's a national mandate, not only our university. So that's why a lot of master students, even PhD students, they are really pursuing research already and publishing it before they graduate.
Okay, so the question I want to ask you in follow up to this is, what informed the decision by the government across the country for this directive? Is it because of any previous experience? Is it because maybe people are not doing a lot of research in the Philippines and therefore they have to make this directive compulsory?
Actually, that's a very good question, right? There are a lot of factors. Number one, we are trying to really look at the situation in the country, and we hope to, again, address the different problems, the different crises that we have in the country through research. So through action research, they will be able to come up with different strategies in order to uplift maybe the education system. It can also be specific communities in the far-flung country regions, etc. So basically, it's actually to make sure that the quality of education will be lifted, and based from the different evaluation and assessment, the quality and the educational system is quite going high because of the different researches that has been implemented by the government.
Okay, so my follow up to this answer, this directive is awesome. It's good. It puts students on their toes to learn and discover a lot of things out of research. What is the government allocation in terms of research?
Okay,
what is the government? Yes. What is the government allocation of resources in terms of research in the Philippines?
Yes, that's another beautiful question, Professor. There are actually budgets for research. So the government actually bring budget to the different higher institutions. So, for example, they do give scholarships to some of the students in order for them to finish their research. They also give fundings coming from the different organizations, both in private and in the government institutions and organizations. For example, just yesterday, we received a funding from the National Culture and Arts in the Philippines. And our research together with my graduate students, it was actually being funded. That's around 200,000 pesos. That's how much? $4,000 in and we need to come up with the research for 2 years and be able to give them the result. So I think the government is doing well in terms of funding the research of the students and be able to support the research activities in the country.
Okay, thank you. My next question is, you highlighted us on Lumina Foundation. Is the foundation open to researchers across the world? If somebody is interested, maybe if I am interested and I'm in Africa and I would like to be part of the foundation to contribute my quota in terms of research, aid and everything, is it open to the public worldwide?
Yes, it's actually open to not only in the Philippines, in Asia, but in the world. We have some colleagues coming from the US. We have colleagues from Europe. We also have colleagues from Taiwan. And actually, this next month in February 23 to 26, we will be in Bangkok because we are in coordination with Mahidol University in Bangkok. So we are very open in partnering and collaborating with other universities and professors coming from all regions and parts of the world. So again, if for example, the chat box will be opened, I will be sending you the link now so that you can actually check and see the different activities that we have.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you for a nice presentation.
Thank you too. Thank you for the questions. So I have posted here the link to the foundation. I also posted here also the special issue. Now you might find the special issue with publication fee. We actually offer free publication to those who have quality papers. So we will be choosing 10 papers that they don't need to pay for the publication fee. It will be taken care of the journal.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. I think Professor Ishka Shwani is raising her hand.
Professor Isha Kwani, you can unmute and ask your question.
Anyway, if there are other questions, you can always email me and I'll try to respond to you as soon as possible.
Yes, ma'am. If there are no more questions, I take this opportunity to thank our resource person, Dr. Fides del Castillo, for sharing her knowledge on doing research and publishing in high-impact journals. The session began with a personal anecdote of our resource person, of how she began with her research and publication journey. Then we moved on to the tips to write an article. Then ma'am told us about the 4 A's in writing an article: the aims, the audience, the awareness, and the way to articulate. Ma'am also took us through the main elements of an article, choosing a topic of our interest, creating a mind map, quantitative and qualitative research, and the various citation styles. Ma'am, thank you for showing us the techniques to spot a predatory journal and also for reminding us that we are not alone in our research. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your presentation and for your time with us this evening.